Hi guys, Taylor Cocke here for Yahoo Esports, and I am with Team Immortals Overwatch support, Verbo, however you pronounce your name, we'll figure it out. How are you doing today? How's the team house treating you? What's been going on lately?
I'm doing well. I mean, we just moved into the team house about a week and a half ago. Obviously, we're only here as 5, or Agilities isn't here, but we're doing well.
Yeah, and you guys have been taking a little bit of a break recently anyway. You guys pulled out of Overwatch Pit recently. What was the reason for the break away from competitive play, and what are you guys doing in the meantime?
I mean, burnout is a real thing, right? Like in esports, you hear about burnout, people wanting to take breaks and stuff like that. So if you take a look at beginning of December, we've basically been grinding nonstop, scrimming 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. Didn't take a break since, and right after the NGE tournament in San Antonio, we decided that, you know, we were kind of feeling tanked, we needed a break, and we reached out to the org, and they offered that to us.
And obviously, you guys had just come off the success of the Overwatch Winter Premiere, which was probably the biggest North American LAN that we've seen so far this year. What were your feelings coming off of that tournament? Was the team riding high? Does it make you think that perhaps you can start competing overseas, or did you just sort of fall into this necessity of a break?
I mean, winning the tournament right at the LAN, it was an awesome feeling. You know, it was our first, it was my first LAN, the team's second one. So we were in front of a crowd. We got the experience of being at a LAN tournament in front of an audience. It was awesome. So yeah, after coming off that tournament, we definitely feel like we can compete at a higher level than we are right now. So.
What are your feelings about North America right now as a whole? Because it does seem that a lot of people are kind of down on the scene at the moment, saying that you know, Europe and Korea are far and away superior. Do you think that North America has a long way to go before they can start competing with some of these more international teams?
Personally, I feel like North America is a little bit unstable right now at the moment, not in terms of like structure, but in terms of the teams and the players. Whether that's being too emotional, whether that's not being able to take criticism. Just right now, you see basically teams coming out of nowhere, rising up, beating all these other top-tier teams, and then having their time of glory, and then they drop down and another team comes back up. Basically, the things to improve, or like what NA could do, is, you know, just have the right personality and character on your team, right? You got to build a team around that.
Mm-hmm. And it does seem that a lot of that comes from the fact that both, the game is very young. I mean, this is the newest big esport going right now. But also, it seems that a lot of North American players tend towards the younger side in terms of age. Do you think that that's a contributing factor to the way that the North American scene is as a whole?
I really don't think age kind of hinders on how the team performs. I mean, if you look at our team, half of our team is 17 years old, right? So we're all in our age. I mean, we're beating teams that all have like around 22 to 25-year-olds on the team. So, I mean, whether you're 17, whether you're 25, maturity does differ. Mm-hmm.
And for you personally, I mean, you just said, you know, some of you guys are still 17 on the team. You guys are much younger than the average esports player, or I guess you're about the right age that team or players start getting into esports. But for you personally, there has to be some sort of balancing act between, you know, finishing school and getting everything done in that regard. How do you find that balance between playing professionally and living your, you know, your normal teenage life?
Yeah, so when I first joined the team, I was actually going to a traditional school. So I'd wake up at 6 in the morning, take the bus, you know, go to school for 6 hours, come home at around 3 p.m. and then scrim until midnight. So I would kind of like take my lunch break off. I wouldn't go out with friends just to like fit in that time to do homework so I can actually practice with the team. But now I basically have opted out of traditional school, doing all my courses online. So this way it gives me more time to, you know, come to the boot camp, practice with the team, put in those hours, and just become better.
Mm-hmm. So where do you go from here? I mean, how do you commit even further to playing Overwatch as a full-time job and as a player looking to aim for the highest levels of competition?
So like some steps that we're taking right now is obviously preparing for the Overwatch League. That's going to be Overwatch Esports is the Overwatch League. So some things that I'm doing personally is basically, you know, whether that's like doing offline stuff, instead of just like actually playing the game raw, you're going over strategies, hopping into a custom by yourself, looking at what you can do better, get that edge over other teams. Also, basically just practicing more. It's basically it, like getting together as well. Like we've actually never been together once as 6, so that's a goal of ours right now.
How do you think the team dynamic is going to change once you have all 6 people in the same spot? Is that going to be a huge advantage for you guys going forward?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the team that's gonna be able to work closely together and prepare for the Overwatch League is gonna benefit when the time actually comes. So right now we're kind of looking to build that brotherhood and get together so we can be prepared for that.
So you briefly mentioned the Overwatch League earlier. What are your initial thoughts about the Overwatch League? Obviously, we don't know all that much about it, but how are you feeling about the potential of shifting over to a location-based league?
I think it's risky, it's different, and it's unique. But I think it will be successful if Blizzard does take the right steps. Obviously, I don't know the steps. I'm not really experienced in that field, but I think it's cool, right? Like representing your state or a province. Obviously, like they might be dipping into Canada, my hometown. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think in order for Overwatch to basically beat or take that step over League of Legends or CS:GO, they have to be different and unique, and this is the way that they're doing that.
I mean, do you have confidence that Blizzard is going to be able to pull it off successfully, or do you have your apprehensions about what you've seen so far?
No, Blizzard has been taking the right steps. I mean, what they're doing right now is awesome. Like the way that they're treating us as players, the way that they did the World Cup, it was kind of like a nice treat or an experience that players could get to basically see how they were going to get treated for the Overwatch League. So I think Blizzard will take the right step, and I do have confidence in that.
That's great. I mean, it's going to be really interesting seeing if they manage to pull this thing off, because if they pull it off, you know, could be the biggest thing in esports. But let's move on a little bit. Let's go on to some of the more gameplay side of things. Obviously, as a Lucio player yourself, how do you feel about the Lucio changes? Obviously, you haven't had that much time to play it on a competitive level, but how do you feel about them so far?
Yeah, I think the Lucio changes are great. It actually really fits my style or the way I like to play Lucio. Because before the patch came out, I was on a really aggressive Lucio. Now that the patch came out, you know, they increased his projectile speed, his damage, and his also overall movement speed. So it basically just benefits playing aggressively, and that's the way I like to play Lucio.
I mean, do you ever wish you had the opportunity to play literally anything else? Because you're pretty much just Lucio all the time.
Yeah, playing Lucio all the time definitely makes me want to play other things such as Widowmaker. I used to play a lot of Widowmaker back in the day, so I'd definitely like to play some Widow.
Maybe change it up, have a little bit of Widow support here and there. See if that works out for you.
I'll try to make it work.
So what do you think about the state of supports right now as a whole? I mean, it seems like there's a little bit more Mercy coming in, but still primarily it's just Ana and Lucio the whole time. Do you think that there's a place for a lot more diversity in supports now that they've made a few of these changes?
So right now, Lucio and Ana kind of have the best kit. Like just the overall abilities and the way that they're healing is just overpowering all the other ones. Occasionally, you do see Mercy when teams decide to run a Pharah, just because you can, heal that Pharah or up in the air, keep that Pharah safe. Or teams like to run Zen. So basically, if you're running dive compositions with Tracer, Genji, Winston, Zenyatta, you get to put the orb on those heroes that are mobile. Basically, it just makes it easier to heal those people. So.
I mean, what do you think about the state of the game right now as a whole? Because it does seem that there's a lot of different shifts going on, but not all of them are really all that different. You're still seeing, triple tank comps. You're still seeing the single DPS. Sometimes you're seeing triple DPS, but it does seem that it's relatively stagnant at the moment. Are you pretty happy with the state of the game right now, or do you wish that something would change up more rapidly?
I'm happy where the game is right now, personally. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I love playing Lucio, so I wouldn't like to see that change in any way. But if you look at competitive play, there are teams that are running dive compositions, and then if you look at ourselves, we're not really diverting to running dive. We really like to stick with our standard compositions like triple tank soldier or more defensive comps. So I mean, we're not following the meta. We're being unique in our own way, and we're going to try to make that work. So.
Cool. I mean, it seems like a bold choice to stay things and avoid the meta as a whole. I think the Koreans might look down on you a little bit there, but I'm sure it'll work out for you in the future. But as the Lucio player on the team, obviously you're the shot caller, as tends to be with Lucios. How did you grow into that role on the team? How did you become the shot caller for Immortals?
So when I first started playing Overwatch, I originally wanted to join a team, and then I figured that people weren't doing it right. People weren't creating a team the way that I wanted to. Or so I said, you know, if you're gonna do it right, you better do it yourself. So I did it by myself twice, made 2 teams. Basically felt like I had to take on a leadership role, so I felt like I had to be a shot caller, had to know a lot about the game. And then Immortals obviously lost their Lucio, so they needed one. And they also voiced to me during my trial with them that they needed a voice, a microphone, to basically lead the team and make decisions in the game, decisive ones. So they felt like I was a good candidate for that, and that's how I became the shot caller.
So you're willing to be a little bit loud on the microphone if you need to be? Let people know what's up?
Definitely, yeah.
Obviously going from a new game like Overwatch and jumping into a leadership role and a shot calling role, that's a tough thing to do, especially when strategies aren't really set in stone yet. How did you get to the point where you understood the game to a high enough level and felt like you could teach other people or tell other people how to play the game?
So there's 2 types. Like, if you look at shot callers, there's people that are knowledgeable about the game. They've either gained that knowledge based on watching other people that are higher than them. Like, if you look at North American players, they'll probably look at Koreans and see what they do, and then basically base their play off of that. But what I think is successful and what I do is you want to create your own ideas and be unique in that way. If you're gonna be the follower, you're never gonna reach the top. So you got to create your own ideas, and that's what I like to do.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So for the next year, it's going to be a big year for Overwatch Esports as a whole, and by extension, Immortals Overwatch team. So what are your goals going forward? What do you hope to accomplish in the next year, whether it be in the Overwatch League or just in general?
Basically, just to accomplish building a better relationship with the team. I mean, not to say that the relationship is bad. The relationship is great. Everyone gets along extremely well. But we want to basically build that brotherhood for the Overwatch League. So this way, when it does come out, we have that edge over other teams and we're more stable than everyone else.
Awesome. All right, Verbo, thank you so much for coming in to talking to us today. For everyone else, this is Yahoo Esports.